Hello, my name is Alistair Slowly, and today we'll be talking about the Agile Pyramid. What is the Agile Pyramid? Well, the Agile Pyramid has 3 layers. At the bottom layer, we have the Agile practices, which are many. In the middle, we have the 12 Agile Manifesto principles, and then finally at the top, we have the 4 Agile Manifesto values. So let's review what these values and these principles and these practices are. The values. Individuals and interactions over tools and processes. Working software over comprehensive documentation. Customer collaboration over contract negotiation, and responding to change over following a plan. Those are the 4 Agile Manifesto values that drive culture, Agile culture in organizations. They are followed by the 12 principles from the Agile Manifesto. Early and continuous delivery. We welcome changing requirements. We don't dread them. We deliver working software frequently. The business and development work together on a daily basis. We have motivated individuals on the teams, and we favor face-to-face conversation. Progress or success is measured by working software. We try to maintain a sustainable pace, and we value technical excellence, simplicity, self-organizing teams, and we reflect and adjust our process. This is followed by the bottom layer of the practices, and the practices are many. These include everything from extreme programming to Scrum, to Kanban, to Scrumban, to extreme manufacturing. The list goes on and on. During World War II, the United States occupied many South Pacific islands as forward military bases and as places to restock its military. And they would actually occupy these islands and build landing strips and airdrop materials in and bring in men, and they would build landing strips. And the natives, who had sometimes never even seen a white person before, would observe these military men from the United States bringing in cargo on planes and distributing cargo to the troops. And in fact, some of the troops would distribute some of these materials from the cargo to the natives in order to engender goodwill. Everything from chocolate to sugar to machetes. You can imagine a Pacific Islander who had never had a machete before, how valuable that must have been. And they knew that it had come off airplanes that had landed mysteriously on these landing fields in the jungle in the middle of the South Pacific. Well, after World War II ended and the US military left, the Native Islanders still desired this cargo, but they didn't know how to get this material from the cargo anymore. So what they did is they actually built replica airstrips, replica headsets and radios and airplanes, and tried to mimic the practices they had seen the military men do to bring in the cargo. Of course, this wasn't successful. What was happening here was that these Native Islanders, they were going through the motions. They'd seen the motions, they'd observed the motions, and they were repeating them in an effort to get the cargo. But of course they weren't going to get the cargo. There was an emphasis on practices because they didn't really truly understand what was behind those practices. This kind of adoption in an agile environment is called a cargo cult adoption, and it leads to agile failure because the organization is merely going through the motions and they are not truly understanding the reasons why they go through those motions in the back end. So if we return back to the Agile Pyramid once again, try to imagine it this way. It's the same pyramid, but we've inverted it. The values, even though there are 4, they support the principles, which in turn support the practices. So in an agile adoption, you really should be focusing on the values first and embracing the principles which support the practices, even though the practices are many. So when you adopt agile and start to scale agile in your organization, you should be scaling the values and the principles, embracing them. It really doesn't matter what your practices are if you're doing XP versus Scrumban versus Kanban versus Evo. If you don't adopt the values and the principles, it doesn't matter what practice you adopt, you're probably going to have trouble with your adoption. What it comes down to is that your organization, and some people call this culture, need to be agile. You don't just do agile. And this will lead to improved agility.